let go in your brain, you know you can't sustain the misconceptions in your mind. One day you'll see for sure what all of this was for, then you can leave it all behind. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. In the beginning was found this thing that cannot speak. It's how we all truly learn.
Good evening.
It's only ever attained when one lets go of fear. So don't let wisdom pass you by. The journey begins.
Basically, the idea of it.
I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof.
What?
I am the one, yeah, that is searching
I don't think
for the
Blue
truth.
Marble's worked out
I am the whispers of the
what he's
logic
saying
in
with
your
his,
mind.
because he's not making
I
that
am an
triangle.
agent of the Logos.
He's not actually making the triangle that he thinks he's making.
Definitely he is violating his own spherical geometry.
It was there all along. How could I never have seen this thing that's danced all around? It wasn't until I left behind the things I believed that I could see things so clear. The journey begins. Become the one, yeah, that will show the proof. Become the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. Become the whispers of the logic in their mind. Become an agent of the Logos. Become an agent of the Logos. We are the agents of the Logos.
And we are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Logic Night. And tonight, basically, we're just going to be going over the illogical statements that were made yesterday by Blue Marble Science on behalf of the Blue Marble model that he's made up in his own mind. He's decided to enter the realm of geometry, but it's illogical geometry. Doesn't really make any sense. I don't know whether he is having a bendy horizontal or whether he's not actually forming a triangle. It's a bit hard to state what he's doing within vertical and horizontal. We'll go over that a bit in a bit. So, welcome. As you know, yesterday we went over a video that Blue Marble made some pretty extraordinary claims, and he's come to some conclusions that can only come to through the aid of a model. But that model means you have to do away with the logical process. The logical process that derives Euclidean geometry. Blue Marble, although he thinks he's working to Euclidean geometry, it's not a logical form, it's illogical. So the title of today's is What's Not Logic? Because they have a not geometry. And the only way you can come to the conclusions of this not geometry is to have a not logical process to give you that. Now, we've been dealing with words quite a lot. And recently, I think most of the gains that I personally have made in the last few months or so is finding words that seem to have been lost. I mean, anybody that's been round here for however many years we've been round, we have been saying quite like in the past, we have been saying, I can't work out what's going on. Why do they do that? You know, what's that about? Well, the words, the paralogisms, epoche, or all of these words that we've come to, have come into our vocabulary recently is all due to looking into this ridiculous, not logical system that people keep telling us. That's what's needed for them to live on a globe. Now, I don't particularly care what anybody lives on. What I do care about is this not logical, pushing a not logical system on people. I don't think it's fair. And I don't think people should have that pushed upon them. So we've got, I used to call it, well, I still do, the great paralogism. Now, to go over this, a paralogism is a faulty conclusion that you've come to. And you have accepted that as a truth statement, and you can just repeat it, to other people, pretend that you understand it, but it's a faulty reasoning. There's something that's gone wrong in the breakdown of the logical process that derives you at this conclusion. Blue Marble has come to one, and it's basically around an axiom within Euclidean geometry, a fundamental axiom of the founding of all logical systems. Mathematics. It's at the heart of mathematics is what Blue Marble is attempting to play about with. Now, I don't know whether he doesn't understand it or whether the model has forced him into this position. Maybe some of his friends, his peers, have forced him into it. But what he's ended up saying is just far beyond reasoning, and there's no way he can explain how it's happened. He's just pointing at Jesse Kozlowski and Larry Scott and saying, well, Larry Scott and Jesse Kozlowski have given us these numbers. Oh, there's another paper here that's also give us these numbers. But the numbers seem to show that triangles. Well, I don't know. We'll go over it in a bit anyway. But the paralogisms that we have to deal with have to be the things that we look at. Now, for quite a while, it coming to try and understand these things is a bit, I don't know. We've always said you should never enter the realm of the Penrose, because you're trying to work out how something that's impossible could possibly happen, or how somebody else can think something to be true when you personally know it's impossible. Now, if you don't know it's impossible and just have a thought that it could be, but then somebody else is absolutely adamant that it is true, do you sort of bow down to them? Do you personally accept the word of somebody who seems to be saying something that's impossible to be true? Do you personally accept that, or do you not? I don't. If I look into something and find out it's not quite right, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. But you have a feeling, although that feeling's not the right word. Your reasoning can't seem to work it out. There's no reasoning that could be done that you could come up to that conclusion. So you need to look into it to find out where the problem is. Now, if the other people are saying that they've already sorted out that and there is no problem, well, who do you trust? Are you the sort of person that can see these contradictions? Do you like to work out puzzles in your own mind? I mean, most of the time we're on our own in our own heads. Do you like trying to sort out puzzles? I do, personally. That's what I do. That's called try thinking for a reason. Hopefully I can find something that I've missed. Then I can come to some sort of understanding the things that seem confusing. And the globe model is full of contradictions and impossibilities, as far as I'm concerned. But I just live my life to a logic system, and I'm not really fussed about all other things that are going on. They don't really affect me. And especially at the minute, the stuff we're doing at the minute with music, J-Ro and Buster, shout out Buster, and all of that, we wouldn't be able to come to that geometric understanding if we didn't have the geometry. Well, I say the geometry, but the geometry is already there. The way to explain it, the logical system that goes behind the reasoning powers to give you the answers within geometry. That's what we're after. Now, that logical reasoning seems to have broken down. And it breaks down really to a straight line. That's as simple as it is. I can't put it any simpler than that. The straight line derives all of the geometry that we use. Now, in order for you to have a globe model, you have to deny that geometry. There's no two ways around it. Blue Marble, like he did last night in that video, he skirted around the actual issue, although he did put some pictures up. I'll get these screenshots now to hopefully try and explain. don't need to hear that. Right, here we go. Now these are two pictures from Blue Marble's actual stream. Right, there we go. I'll get these on the screen there. Everyone see that? Oh, I'll get rid of the oh, where's the thinking? Not too many things on. There you go. Right. So, you guys in Discord see that. Now, Blue Marble has got parallel zeniths. It's got straight lines there as well. So you notice that all of these, apart from the angle measurements, are the straight lines on the screen. And what Blue Marble's going to try and say is those lines that are going upwards up the screen. He calls them zeniths, but they're just, in reality, they're just verticals. If this is a right angle, he's not got any right angles marked. He's just got A and B equals 180. But if these are verticals, then this would be horizontal. And that would work fine. Over here, if these are verticals, then this isn't horizontal. In fact, if these are verticals, then this can't be horizontal. If you were to do perpendiculars to these lines, then the horizontals would be sloping. And they would meet in the center of these two, up here somewhere. The perpendiculars to these lines. So, Blue Marble, right? This one here, if these are verticals and these are right angles, then this is horizontal. Vertical and horizontal. Two straight lines crossing at right angles. As everybody knows, vertical and horizontal are. This is the model that Blue Marble wants to go with, which means this straight line here cannot be horizontal. Simple as that. So what Blue Marble did last night was to show everyone that on the globe model, there's no such thing as a horizontal. Horizontals don't exist on the globe model. There's no such thing. It's not a line. It's not a plane. It's a point. And as we all know, a point is that of which has no parts. So a horizontal has no parts. It's a nothing. It's a no thing. There's no such thing as horizontal on Blue Marble's globe model. But, I mean, like we've been saying all along, in reality, there are definitely horizontals. And we have tools that establish horizontals. We've got auto levels that establish horizontal. There are theodolites. The tool that Blue Marble said that Jesse Kozlowski and Larry Scott used in order to do this. It's not Blue Marble. Blue Marble's not using his stuff. He's using Jesse Kozlowski and Larry Scott in order to say that horizontals don't exist. It's hard work for him to actually come out and say it, but that's what's happening here. Oh, why can you not say that? Why is my mouse not showing? That's there you go. You have no idea what any of that meant, do you, Bev? Yes, Blue. You have stated that there are no horizontals on your model, which goes to show, Blue, it's not real. Your model doesn't exist. Like you stating horizontals don't exist. Well, they do. They're used.
By the way, in this picture of diverging zenith, this is wrong picture, because you cannot establish that line as horizontal at any of these points.
No.
Because they should be at the angle. You can only establish, as they say, at a point, this tangent horizontal to one of diverging zeniths and another tangent to another so-called vertical. So this line, which seems to be horizontal on this picture, is wrong. Because anyway, while measuring, you are establishing locally local vertical and local horizontal, and these angles should be right. So this horizontal line non-existent on this model, because if it was horizontal, it should be curved. And then, but if it was curved, they would have, as they say, two perpendiculars to a curve, they say. So these angles A and B would be, in their model, would be right angles. So this is complete illogical. First, wrong horizontal, because it is straight. If he is using straight lines, he should use two of them at the angle to each other, which makes them not horizontal, really. Or he should use curve horizontal to have, as they say, right angle at a point, which is nonsense, of course. But this is the only way that they could do that with one line called horizontal. So it is in two ways impossible for me.
Yeah, Blue Marble's fallen into a trap laid for him by Wally. Wally was unable to do his own thing, so he's passed it on to Blue Marble. Just trying to find it. I can't remember where the maybe in Imaginometry. Oh, it must be here somewhere. I don't know where. I've got that many pictures all over the place here. Wally did a thing ages ago. And we said it's a paralogism because he'd laid it out that let me see if I can find it. Maybe on my phone. Now, when Wally did his, he called it a proof that horizontals aren't parallel initially. And I gave him a picture of the triangle axiom, as we call it, and he added it to his proof. Always when you're looking for it, you can't find it. Hopefully it's in here. I'll have to go and find it at some point. Everybody knows that we've been dealing with all of this sort of stuff for quite a while. And there are literally that many contradictions that have been made. It's quite hard to believe. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get the 12th axiom, or the what we call the triangle axiom, because it states, we've got quite a few of these. Yeah, so here's the axioms from Euclidean geometry. Now, yeah, okay. Now, what we've got here, can you see that? Yeah. This is sort of like the proof of this that Blue Marble's trying to state here about perpendiculars and parallels, and the proof of parallels goes like this with the angles. Now that's what Blue Marble's trying to do, but along with the geometric proof, Blue Marble's trying to confuse people by looking through an optical instrument over 11 miles. And then he's taking the word of Jesse Kozlowski and Larry Scott, two very confused gentlemen that aren't around to be able to explain any of this. So they've, in their confusion, tried to explain it to Blue Marble. And Blue Marble has made a video about like a geometric principle that exposes the globe model as being just non-existent. But Blue Marble thinks it is, and that's why he's done this. So, what we have here, these are the axioms of geometry, mathematics, understanding. You can't get away from these. You can't just say, well, not that one. We'll just change it. So what Blue Marble's saying, it says here, if a straight line meet two straight lines so as to make the two interior angles on the same side of it taken together less than two right angles, these straight lines being continually produced shall at length meet on that side on which are the angles which are less than two right angles. Now, Blue Marble's saying more than two right angles, because he's using the opposite side, I think, geometrically. Anyway, we'll go back to it. Like this one here. These lines, well, these two lines, like Blue Marble says, more than 180. So, like the axiom states, if produced, these two lines on the side which are less than 180, these ones down here, would be continually produced and they would meet at the bottom. This is what we call axiom 12, or we call it axiom 12, the triangle axiom, but I think Blue Marble would like to call it the parallel postulate. I think he might want to call it something different, because that's the one that he can't have. He gets rid of it. It's gone. Remember that, Blue? Did they advise you that? Or did they completely forget about telling you about the stolen concept fallacy that they've led you down the garden path to? They've actually got Blue Marble to show everybody the axiom that exists in Euclidean geometry. And that's the one that he can't have. Blue Marble can't have it on his model. They get rid of it. So you can't really use the very axiom that you're going to get rid of, Blue. It's contradictory. That's why we call it a stolen concept fallacy. It's a logical conundrum that you've been put into. Now, I don't know how you've been allowed to do this. Like, how could you not see it? Can you understand that, Paper? You're right. The stolen concept fallacy means you can't use something to say that that thing that you're using doesn't exist.
Yes, it is impossible. This is killing your own argument in the process. But still,
self-refuting.
Yes. So only by very using it, you are killing your argument by using it. So, but still, I don't see this horizontal line, or whatever it is, in horizontal orientation. It has no right angle to any of these diverging zeniths. So where is or it is not horizontal, or there are no verticals here. But I think that they call these diverging zeniths verticals. So it means that horizontal is not perpendicular to any of them. So for me, it doesn't completely. It's complete nonsense.
Yeah, here we go. Here's another one that Blue Marble's fallen into this. I mean, you can see this picture. Now, this one we will show you. I don't know whether I might have a better one than that. It's not very big, is it?
Yes, rather small.
That one's not got the... There you go. That's a little bit better. It's not got the ridiculous modus total. Well, the... Right, so as you can see here, this little logo at the bottom is from a guy that may or may not live in Maine. Now, he was the one that drew this up here, right? Now, you'd see it. It looks very similar to what Blue Marble's done. But as I pointed out to this guy, way back, this was when I was on Twitter, before I came into Discord or to talk to anybody, I'd already done the rounds with the Twitter globe geniuses. So I'd already had experience with a group of people that would just say ridiculous things. The panic, Blue. You can imagine whatever you want, Blue. But the truth is, you're dealing with a fallacy, and this is how you're dealing with it. I mean, good for you. If that's how you have to deal with it, that's good. But we're going to carry on. Now, he's got these plumb lines. He calls them plumb lines, but as you can see, that's not plumb. And then he's got a horizontal and a horizontal, but they intersect at the center. There is an angular deviance between the horizontals. And as everybody knows, this angle here between two horizontals is called the equipotential angle of adjustment. And it is the angle when measured from one horizontal to another horizontal at the point where they meet. Only in your mind. You can't actually do this. It's not possible. Blue Marble will tell you how impossible it is to actually measure this. Because, as you can see, these tools are here and here with your plumb lines that aren't plumb. And this, where the equipotential angle of adjustment should be measured, is directly in the middle of the two tools. So you can't actually do that. And what you would be imagining is the intersection of two horizontals. It's fascinating. The only people that can seem to be able to do this sort of thing are the most seriously model afflicted people.
This is the same spot where supposedly hump
Yes.
should be.
Yes.
In the water level.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the largest hump in the middle of a level is in the center where the tool isn't. Blue Marble has, I keep saying this, Blue Marble has fallen into the trap that all of the globe geometers have left for him, because they've all disappeared. They've all gone. Nobody can justify any of this stuff that Blue Marble science, frantic bunny ears around the science part. Because this isn't science. This is just purely making shit up. Horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. True. Horizontal and vertical are straight lines. Also true. Has to be true, because there's a founding of geometry that states once you have a straight line, then you can have a perpendicular. And those perpendiculars have a relationship to each other. That relationship is a right angle. the correct angle, but me being the one where all four are equal. All right angles are equal. That's another axiom from Euclidean geometry. This somebody else's copyright material.
Blue Marble says that this is not his diagram. This is very similar to this diagram of, I think it was Blue Marbles with this hump and this triangle, vertical triangle, or even on Pontchartrain, this lake Rakia. So it was, I don't know if there were added these lines in triangle.
Can you see the angle?
Where on this modus tollens?
Yeah, no, this angle here. One side 94.03, 94.04 on this side. 94 degrees, 3 minutes, 0 seconds. This side, 94 degrees, 4 minutes, 5 seconds. Two angles, both of 94 plus a smidge.
Yes, I can see, but this is these angles are to the line of sight, not to this horizontal at point A and at point B.
Yeah. Any idea of the model, Blue? Anybody give us a rough estimate of the distance between those two angle measuring devices? For that, because they're sighting each other. It's got a line there. It's got like this line here is labeled line of sight.
I can't remember now, but I think that it was some ridiculous distance, not measurable.
Right, actually, Casey, we've had some bad news. I heard it today. Casey's in a bit of a bad way. Not going to be doing any more flirf bashing. So, yeah. We hope Casey can get better. Casey was the one that did this. One of my previous early experiences of dealing with people on Twitter, globe defenders. Right, so he's got line of sight, and the both of them have measured 94 degrees. Now, anybody know anything about the degrees and distances? Because don't forget, this is a horizontal sloping. This one's a sloping horizontal, and this one may be straight. I don't know. This one and this one may be actual, real horizontal perpendicular. 94 degrees. It's 4 degrees over 90. Anybody?
I cannot remember.
1 degree for how many?
69 miles.
Okay, so we've got 4 degrees over 90. So the line of sight would be, that's right, record breaking. He's doing it with optical devices, not with cameras or anything. He's not sighting mountains over this. He's sighting theodolite to theodolite over a distance of 280 miles plus. And he's, like he said, line of sight. I mean, that's why I know that this guy that may or may not be from Maine is definitely a lying shit.
Wait, what? But what about curvature of the Earth blocking vision?
The hump, the one that he's got actually pictured in the drawing.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Top or hump, whatever. But 200 miles, you know. So
yeah, there's obviously no hump. If he can have a line of sight looking through it, it's not there. 280 miles plus. Lying bags of shit. And Blue Marble's fallen for it. This guy's had to disappear. He did this, and then he's gone. Poof. Left Blue Marble to do it for him. At KC. Do you not even think that was copyrighted, did you? Or do you think that this drawing here of that the main surveyor did, you reckon that's copyrighted? It's a fucking meme from about 4, 5, 6 years ago, Blue. It's you that's took all of their information. You put the video out. Big Blue Marble. Talking shit. And we've said this before. The modus tollens is a load of bullshit. Maybe that's where Blue Marble went through his zenith angles. Because he'd heard us go over this. Bullshit modus tollens. Come up with the idea of the interior angles, but the opposite side of it is the proof of the triangle axiom. You've just inverted the triangle axiom. I can't wait until you get into this, Blue. Because as soon as you get talking to your globe geometers, you're going to find out they've got nothing. They're just making shit up, and they've led you down a garden path to get you to make a video. And now you're the one that's going to have to justify it. Because you've said a load of stupid shit. You've basically just said about the triangle axiom from Euclidean geometry. You might call it the parallel postulate. You might know it better as that. Sorry, go on, Paper.
But still, if Blue Marble insists that this is not his drawing, yes, his drawing is simplification of this modus tollens drawing. But in this modus tollens drawing, this line, which is not assigned in Blue Marble's drawing, here it is called line of sight. So it is not called horizontal, because horizontals are converging in the middle. And so it would mean that Blue Marble science didn't draw this line as horizontal. And it means that these two diverging zeniths are not verticals. So they are just random lines.
Yeah. It's just a proof of the triangle axiom from Euclid. Really? That's what it says to me. The triangle won't be formed on the side with more than 180. The triangle will be formed on the side with less. I hope that's not what they've tried to work out about anything to do with their model. Oh, I hope it isn't.
It is not completely unrelated to prove anything. No, it cannot prove their model. And I don't know why he drew this picture, because it is not related.
I had obviously Blue got a vested interest in this now. He's Blue Marble is I don't know, I think he claims to be an engineer, So he would definitely know something about elevation profiles and all of that sort of stuff, and how all of those normally work in reality. I can't imagine why he's decided to go enter the realms of geometry. It's a bit much. I don't know whether you guys can see that on. It's got it. Yeah, definitely Blue. It, of course, it's got everything to do with triangles. It's got the whole triangle axiom. Which side of the straight line the triangle will be formed. Right. So this is what Blue Marble is talking about. Blue Marble says, oh no, somebody else said, BMS or anybody else said this observation was to measure elevations. What was it for then? What are you doing it for? Blue. What is this surveying operation if it's not to measure elevations? What's it for? Give us the purpose of this surveying method, Blue. Go on, just type it in the chat quickly. If it's not to measure elevations, what is this surveying method? What's it called? And what is it for? What's the purpose of it? Because then we can ask surveyors. Everybody can ask the surveyors if they've ever performed this. Keep up to date, Blue. It's definitely the triangle axiom, but we'll get to that in a bit anyway. Answer the thing. What method is it for? What's it for? So, Blue Marble Science, nor anybody else, said this observation was to measure elevations. They were simply measuring the reciprocal zenith angles between 2 points. That's right, 2 points. If the zeniths were parallel, that would mean the sum of the two angles would be 180 degrees, with some margin caused by refraction in reality. The sum of the measured angles was about 9 minutes of arc over 180 degrees, not 4 degrees from each side. As the guy that may or may not live from Maine said. In reality, the sum of the measured angles about 9 minutes of arc over 180 degrees, which means in reality that the zeniths or verticals for the slow-minded, right? So remember that. I don't know why he's putting zeniths. He may as well just put verticals there, unless you're going to say, if anybody says, oh, do you mean verticals? And they'll say, yeah, for the slow-minded. It's not a very good approach. So they do mean verticals. Are not parallel, but are diverging, even when taking refraction into account. Now, that was a guy called, I think, Stefan Mudd. He's a new guy that's come in just recently to bolster and give these guys a bit of support. Blue Marble needs his support at the minute. He will definitely be needing support. So I hope all of the Globers that are listening, that have led Blue Marble into this point, I hope you are going to support him. I hope you're going to be there for him and help him out. Because he's going to be facing some tough times to justify this bullshit that he's dropped himself in. Impossible, I'd say, is Blue Marble's task. Nobody else has ever managed to do it before. That's why they all ran. That's why Jesse Kozlowski scarpered. That's why the guy that may or may not live in Maine, he's gone missing. Where's Larry Scott? Who knows? Probably insulting people somewhere, telling children lies about triangles. They'll say anything. So Blue Marble comes back. This is where we go. Thanks very much, Blue. You can measure elevations trigonometrically. Trigonometrically. That's what Blue Marble says. Blue Marble says you can measure elevations trigonometrically. You can measure angles or distances. Which tool do you use it to? Which tool measures trigonometrically?
He's confusing measurements with calculations. You can calculate based on trigonometry, but
Yeah, but
you are measuring with a measuring rod, I think.
Stolen concept fallacy on heavily going whoop whoop whoop, because one of the laws of trigonometric is the triangles have 180 degrees, right? Right angled triangles, the relationship of one line to another, and the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the opposite side to the right angle, not existing in any other triangle. So you're talking about a right angled triangle that has 180 degrees. The sum of two right angles. It must be. Blue. You've stepped your foot into a stolen concept fallacy, a self-refuting claim that you've just made.
And this baseline is straight, has to be straight in this triangle. Sorry. So
all of the lines have got to be straight, haven't they?
Yeah, but especially this horizontal.
Yeah. Nice one, Blue, though, right? It just shows how you've fallen into something, Blue. Your advisors have ended up putting you in a position that they don't even want to be in. They've all been running from it for years, Blue. He says, that's how the height of Mount Everest was measured, for example. I would hesitate a calculation in there rather than a measurement. Because they keep adjusting it, don't they? It's not been measured.
Invoking Alberoni,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Well, I think he's evoking Larry Scott. Tell you the truth. But he says, but you're right. In this, purely the measure of two angles, nothing else. So just two angles, just measuring two angles. What's the process called, Blue? And what is it for? What do surveyors use this particular method for? Come on, it's got to be simple. Have a word with Larry or whatever. Just say, what is this used for? What do surveyors do this? Because then we can check with other surveyors, obviously, to see whether they've ever done it. And then he says, these poor guys are pitifully lacking in geometry or surveying skills, says Blue Marble, who thinks you can measure trigonometrically. He's never done any surveying. He's never done a two-peg test. He's never picked up any surveying apparatus and used it, set it up, or done anything of this. That's Blue Marble. Whereas me, on the other hand, I've got a certificate on my wall for land surveying. I've got other surveying qualifications, but the one on my wall is a standalone certificate for land surveying. So I have the actual practice. I've done it. I've done it for 2 years at college. Heavily based around surveying. And yeah, we use verticals and horizontals. If anybody wants to know how elevations are actually measured, come round. I'll be able to show you. Trying to justify the actual surveying procedure around the globe model has broke many a mind of adults. I've known adult men to have mental breakdowns trying to justify a globe model around geometric reality. It's impossible to do. You just end up exploding your mind. There's nothing left of it. Mental breakdowns, crazy people. And that's where Blue Marble's going to be going pretty soon, I think. They've left it, they've humped it all on Blue Marble. Jesse, Jeff, Larry, Rumpus.
Would say that he is already on that path, because if we have, they have squares with 5 sides, so or triangles,
3, 4, or 5-sided squares. Blue Marble. That's where he's at with his geometry.
They are already deeply in that hole.
Yeah, yeah. But he's then got to try and justify it to like a serious professional trade. One of the most highly certified. It's like you have to be. It's almost like being in a bar at the in the court system. Some of the things that are given to surveyors, they have to get the land in the right position. They have to abide by laws. But Blue Marble's obviously got some people on his side that can help him out, come with all of these proofs, the geometric proofs and everything. He's calling people geometric, lacking in geometric skills. So you'd obviously be able to show this out. Disintegrate in real time. Yeah. Well done, Blue. We've been doing this for years. It's never changed, Blue. You're just now coming round to the realization of Euclidean reality. Euclidean 3D reality is the explanation of it. There's these sort of things have been around forever. We've not changed. We've just learned more and more about the ridiculousness of the model. He said they just had their silly claims destroyed, but somehow they think they have an argument. Yeah, we've got loads of arguments, Blue. The one about all horizontals being parallel is, well, unrefutable. They've never been refuted yet, other than for you guys to say, well, they're not. But you end up with getting rid of horizontals in the process, and using Euclidean geometry to refute Euclidean geometry to get rid of one of the perpendicular lines. It's crazy. I don't know how you've managed to do it, but hey.
It is impossible, because if this surveyor from Maine was trying to establish verticals being divergent with a 200 miles distance, so it makes it impossible. You cannot do that. It is impossible to measure that, or these divergent verticals, or this horizontals creating angle. This is the same impossibility. So it is impossible. So you cannot prove that modus ponens. It is impossible. You cannot fit this middle term in logic with this measurement. It is impossible. So it means that it would be never done. So the argument is just empty. You cannot feel it with this measurement. Anyway, so sorry. Never will be done.
Yeah. Well, really, if you see what the guy that may or may not live in Maine did at the beginning was, what he did was, Blue Marble calls it diverging zeniths, diverging verticals. But really, since you can't actually measure diverging verticals, what they're doing is they're saying that horizontals slope. Blue Marble just can't see that that's what he's saying. But at the same time as saying horizontal slope, he says only at a point the horizontal exists. So there's not even a line to have a slope with.
Sloping point?
Yes.
This is very strange.
Right. Blue Marble says in the chat, our horizontals, right? He's already doing it, like separating us and them. I'll get this one, put it in the chat so everyone can see it. Record it.
They have own horizontals.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get back to that in a minute. Thanks a lot, Blue. So this is the latest one here. Blue Marble in the chat, in the YouTube right now. Our horizontals are alive and quite well. These ones at a point. They're different than yours. How's that? Blue, please tell us how your horizontals are different than ours.
I would say that because they are sloping, so they are different, because normal horizontals are not sloping.
Ours are real and yours are bullshit. So are you telling us, Blue, that you do actually have horizontal planes? But I'd say that that's self-refuting claim. You can't have horizontals. Because if you do have a horizontal that's real, then you can have a perpendicular to it all the way along. Every perpendicular to that horizontal will be parallel. There's your problem, Blue. Nobody's bothered telling you this. You can't have horizontals because if you have a horizontal, all the perpendiculars to it will be parallel. And as we know, all perpendiculars to horizontal are called vertical. It's a geometric fact.
So only one defense left for Blue. He has to admit that their
horizontals.
Yes, is curved. This is the only way.
Bendizontal, Blue. That's what you've got to do.
Bendizontal, yes, they have to say that, because otherwise it doesn't stand at all. It is not well. He said that their horizontals are well. No, they are not well until they curve it. They have to curve it.
Mentally, at least, Blue. You've got to admit that you at least have to mentally curve a horizontal, or as we call it, bendizontal. Mentally, conceptually. Because everybody knows that vertical, horizontal, perpendicular. All perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel. Every one of them. That's a geometric fact. Provable. And it's only provable because that's what happens in reality. Now, I set myself a task to go around this, stating just truthful facts. People say I've been repeating myself. I have. But it's been truthful facts. It's been provable things every step of the way. Everything that I say about horizontals, verticals, perpendiculars, planes, in reality, tools that establish horizontal planes, it's all been truthful. Now, Blue Marble has, like Papers just said, he can't quite come out and say it. He's just sort of letting you imply it. Letting all of his globe buddies sort of imagine that he said it. But he's going to have to say it eventually. there are no horizontals on the globe model. You have to bend it. It has to be bent. But it also has to be perpendicular to vertical at the same time. It's what we call a contradiction. It's an existential paradox, being that in reality, these things exist. Verticals and horizontals do exist. They are straight lines and they are perpendicular. And there is definitely geometric backing to back those statements. Blue Marble has to deny all of that and make up something new. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes with it.
In fact, it is implicitly in this statement that this vertical is perpendicular at a point to horizontal, because it means inevitably that if you are changing this point on this horizontal, this vertical automatically will diverge. No, it doesn't matter how small deviation it would be, but geometrically it would be divergent at any different point. And that means that this line created by this divergent verticals would create circle. It has to create circle. So in this statement that this is perpendicular at a point, this curved horizontal is already implied. But he is just not brave enough to say that. But it is already. So be brave and say that.
He can't. No, look. He's never going to be able to say it now. This is it. We're locking it in. This is making it real. Blue Marble. Remember this one. This is going to carry on. Contradiction again. Blue Marble says, the more you say that silly shit, the dumber you look, Bev. Every plum has a horizontal. And the reciprocal zeniths prove it. I see how that disturbs you. And horizontals don't bend, Muppet. So the horizontals don't bend. They're definitely straight planes, aren't they? A horizontal plane, in reality, definitely exists, right, Blue? Because your model's going to go. You don't really realise where you sat at the minute, Blue. You have to contradict yourself at some point.
Yes, so this is classical dilemma, because if he's saying that this is perpendicular at a point only, it means that there is no plane, horizontal plane. But if he's saying that horizontal plane does exist, it means that verticals cannot be divergent. So sorry, this is dilemma. If you choose one, you are just getting rid of the other option. There is no other option. So only two ways, and one choosing one way is killing the other way. So it is called dilemma in logic.
When we think of something to call it, like particularly specific for Blue Marble, this dilemma that they've led him into. Sloping horizontals or
non-existing
not
verticals.
existent. Yeah.
Or no. So if he says that horizontal is straight line, he has to say that verticals have to be parallel. But if he is stating that a horizontal is perpendicular to vertical only at a point, and then he creates a curved horizontal. Therefore, these verticals cannot be parallel. So there is no other way. Only two ways, and both ways are mutually exclusive. So you cannot use them both. So if you, it's like choosing which foot you are shooting, your own foot, left or right. So this is that kind of dilemma.
Blue Marble Science's dilemma. How'd you deal with that? You've got something named after you now, Blue. Well done. You can finally put your name down in history. The Blue Marble Science dilemma, because it works for Blue Marble Science, the guy, but it also works for the science of the blue marble. There's a dilemma there that you have to, well, I don't know, what do you call it? Is it a contradiction? Is that part of the diletheist way to disregard it and say that it's not a dilemma? There's no contradiction there.
It is contradiction because using one of these ways, you are killing the other option, and if verticals are in this model, so by using y of these ways, he's killing a model anyway. So via verticals or via horizontals. So or there is some horizontal, or there is and vertical, or if he's starting from horizontal bending, then he's killing verticals. When he's starting from diverging verticals, he is killing curving horizontal, because vertical should be at a point perpendicular, and with curved horizontal, he has this divergent, but this horizontal is not a plane anymore. So if he is insisting that this horizontal is a plane, you cannot have this plane with divergent verticals. So I don't know, because I'm not creating dilemmas for myself. So I am not trying to find solution, because there is no solution for that. So I'm sorry. Go to a doctor.
How about Blue Marble Science's existential geometric dilemma? Gets a few of the words in there.
Yes, it's too long. Maybe some shorter.
What do you think, Blue? I think it's definitely a dilemma there. And in you explaining the dilemma, you're perhaps opening a few people up to something that they may not have realised. I thank you, Blue. It's quite good, this. To point out that if horizontal is a straight line, then all of the perpendiculars to it will be parallel and vertical. If you want to diverge those verticals, then through Page's proof, you can't have a straight line horizontal, because the geometric relationship of all verticals being perpendicular to horizontal goes away. It's a problem. It's a geometric problem that leads you down what I think a lot of people have been dealing with whenever they come here to talk to us. It's just a straight line. Do straight lines exist? Is there a shortest distance between 2 points, and would that be a straight line? And can you put that in a horizontal position? That's it. Can you put those 2 points on the same horizontal, and would you class that as a horizontal plane? Apart from the fact, don't get them triggered about talking about parallel to the plane of the horizon, which they obviously are, because Blue Marble wants to you're the guys. We have got no dilemma at all, Blue. Horizontal, vertical are perpendicular geometrically. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It's all I've ever been saying.
This is not dilemma.
Yeah.
He should name it. What dilemma? So two ways, contradictory or mutually exclusive. We don't have that.
Yeah.
We have only one statement.
That's bad. Like, you can't just say, no, you guys. That doesn't work, Blue. That's not how this discussions go.
Yes, it is not even projection, because maybe he's trying to make this reverse accusation. But it doesn't work, because projection is projection one thing, but this is folded, this is a compound. So dilemma is compound. We don't have compound thing here. This only simple argument. So it is not dilemma. It cannot create dilemma, because we have to have two of them at least. Yes, for dilemma, it's D means two lemmas, or two ways.
Yeah, we only have vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. We don't also have them to try and be not perpendicular at the same time, right? That, to me, there's a contradiction there. Call it a dilemma, right? But there is a contradiction in both of these things, Blue. That to me, it shows the diletheist mind. Somebody who can hold both of these things as being true. They can hold both sides of this dilemma to be able to say, no, it's not a dilemma. It's my contradictions, and I'm sticking to it.
It is dilemma. It is contradiction.
Yeah.
Because it is two different ways. But it's called dilemma because it is not just contradiction in terms or simple contradiction, but this is somehow convoluted.
Yeah.
Because this is two different contradictory processes of thinking or argumentation.
It's a breakdown in the reasoning process, right? Because they are contradictory reasoning processes. It's just not two contradictory things. It goes way beyond that, and that's where Blue Marble's going to start losing his mind, because he's already got the outward displays now. These people shouldn't have done this to you, Blue. They shouldn't have done it to the other people that they did it to. And no doubt you've seen and you heard what these people have been saying. Have rubbed off on you. Can't be good. Yeah, Blue. Yeah, I don't dislike Blue. I think Blue's a decent guy, and he's trying to do his best he can.
But this is mission impossible. No one can do that. It is impossible. But he is trying still. I don't know why, but
yeah,
impossible.
He's trying to do geometry. You can tell, Blue. I mean, why have you not gone live, Blue? Go and sort yourself out. Get your mates in. Do it afterwards, perhaps. You're going to need somebody to tap you on the shoulder and say, there. It's all right, Blue. It's them guys. It's not you, Blue. It's them guys over there. The ones talking about dilemmas and contradictions. Forget about them, Blue. We know. Yeah, just... It's not going to be good for people like you, Blue, this. I don't know why they've done it to you. They needed somebody because they've all run away or, you know, gone, left the arena for whatever reason. Mainly because I think they've left because they don't want to do what you're doing right now, Blue. You're trying to justify, right? I mean, this is how stupid it is. You're trying to justify the stupid dilemma and the contradictions that you're holding by saying that triangles have more than 180 degrees. You don't really... You don't understand what you're saying, Blue. If it's not just a blatant misunderstanding of the triangle axiom, axiom 12, or what might commonly be known as the parallel postulate, but I don't know why they've done that, just to confuse people like Blue. If he'd known about the triangle axiom, perhaps he might not have fallen into this fucking stupid thing that he's done for himself. Sorry, Blue, I can't help it. I just... we have to start pointing out this ridiculous stuff that supposed experts about a model are proving to everybody that they're going mad. You can't justify this stuff. You can't deny geometry in order to use that geometry to say that the geometry doesn't exist. You're trying to do this to get rid of a straight line. Trying to use verticals and horizontals being perpendicular to each other to say that horizontals don't exist. I can't work it out. Anyway, go back to this.
No, now Blue saying that this Mobius is quoting Blue. Blue is saying vertical is other than perpendicular to horizontal. So, so he's on one side of dilemma. So, but it means that this horizontal is not horizontal because it doesn't it hasn't got 90 degree, or this is curved horizontal. But if horizontal is curved, then he's contradicting his other statement that horizontal definitely is straight. So sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah, sloping horizontals, it's a strange thing for somebody to want to try and do, especially somebody that's claiming to be an engineer. He might be one of those globe science engineers, you know, completely made up characters. But you can't seriously suggest that horizontals are sloping, which is what Blue Marble has to do. I mean, I know we've been going over this and the simplicity of geometry and how it's laid out. Just, you cannot fit the globe model with horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. It's as simple as that. You can't physically or mentally put that understanding onto a globe model. It's not possible, and the outcome is what we call quite fondly a nutsacking. It's when your mind is just lost into the globe model. You can't do anything about it. At that point, you've gone past the event horizon into another area. And that's where Blue Marble's gone. This latest video of Blue Marbles, I feel sorry for him because there's only madness. He can't come round to normal geometric thinking anymore. It's gone. Us making this video tonight is probably going to seal Blue Marble's fate within this. His mind's exploded already. The one conclusion that Blue Marble cannot come to is that Euclidean geometry supports horizontals and verticals being perpendicular. That's the one conclusion that Blue Marble cannot come to. Part of the dilemma that Blue Marble's put himself into. The one thing where you get the proof that explains how things are in reality is the one thing that Blue Marble and his model can't have. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it is. It's rather funny.
Marble science blue dilemma.
Yeah,
Maybe that.
Blue Marble Science's dilemma. I think that's just good enough. That it doesn't, because like you can then explain it, can't you? It's going to take a good bit of rhetoric to get going.
Or big marble dilemma. Whatever.
Spherical. I don't know. No, just Blue Marble Science's dilemma.
Yes,
Definitely.
maybe that.
Yeah.
Maybe, yes. The same thing, I have this problem with Big Bang. You know, this is not serious. I propose a great kaboom.
Yeah, it's a thought experiment. It's to take you into the mind of the heavily model afflicted and what happens to the mind when people are exposed to this. I think these sort of things are the things that you can have a conversation with just about anybody. If you try and explain the Blue Marble Science dilemma of how the model can't exist with Euclidean geometry, yet Euclidean geometry is the geometry that gives us the proof. So how can you prove something without Euclidean geometry? You can't use Euclidean geometry to disprove Euclidean geometry. That's a massive dilemma to put yourself into. Anytime you feel like crawling out of your dungeon for a 1v1, Bev, be sure to let me know. Anytime, Blue. Anytime. Glad to feel that you're up for it. Where'd you like to go, Blue?
Smells like debate.
I'll go anywhere. You see, I went over to Red's Rhetorics. It doesn't bother me, Blue. I'll go anywhere. You banned us from yours. We went over to yours. We literally went over to Blue Marble Science's Discord to go and have a chat. He kicked us, all of us.
I don't think he kicked me, but I think I only went over there once.
We had a good time when we went over there. Like, we literally, we have some really good conversations with people as a group, right? We imagine taking the group of people that we have here out on a road trip. It's great fun. We were all over there having a conversation, and Blue Marble had all of his team. It was like a big day. Blue Marble Science's Discord had never been so active when we went over there. We've done it to quite a few places. it's stimulating conversation, but I'm gonna have to point out this dilemma that you put yourself in, Blue. And just saying it isn't a dilemma. Well, because I think that what Blue has given us here is the perfect way to introduce logical reasoning into everyday conversation, and to show people the contradictions that are around, right? And how there are really no existential paradoxes. But how do people deal with them? It's a tough one. It's a tough thing to have to give people an existential paradox. Because although we know that they don't exist, what would the unsuspecting mind think of an existential paradox? What would they do about that? It's like we've been saying for quite a while. We now call it existential cognitive veiling. People have been running from this. Blue Marble, like, you must admit, right? We've been here for years. I've been over this on Twitter, and the problems that had arrived very early on Twitter are still there. It's just nobody can talk about them because nobody can resolve them. The globe model cannot resolve these things. Can't do it. You cannot resolve an existential paradox if you're clinging on to a model. An impossible model, and a model that's built on impossibilities and contradictions, paradoxes, rife with them. But the way they deal with it is to just separate them, pretend they're not paradoxes. Just say, no, it's you guys that have got it, like Blue Marble did tonight. It'd be embarrassing. I can't live with that model because there are just too many contradictions that exist within it. Now, how do we get chance to explain those? I'm guessing we have to wait for moments like this where Blue Marble gives us a dilemma. And then hopefully people will say, what do you mean? What's a dilemma? Then you can try and explain the dilemma to them. There is definitely a dilemma. There's a contradiction in here that you could definitely see and be able to show people. This is one point that you have to have, and this is the other. And now you need required to have both of them. But one of them disproves the other one. It's fantastic, really. It's as a teaching method to be able to try to explain these simple processes of the mind. Because that's where this is good. This logical thinking doesn't need anything. You don't need paper. You don't need pens. You don't need calculators. You can literally do this with logical reasoning. The power of your mind working out problems, coming to solutions. And that's what I think we're here for. That was the beauty of what I ended up finding on my journey, which I guess I've been on like forever. But since people put me on this particular journey and has shown me these individuals that are just crazy. They say stupid things and you can look into them and disprove what they say. But in a fundamental way, and I ended up finding, me personally, found logic through a long journey. But that logical process, I think, is a gift. It was a gift given to me, and I'm hoping to be able to pass that on to everybody else. But the way I was taught it is, it came to me, and I don't think you can teach people logic. It has to be something that you have to want. It is the foundations of all mathematics, and a lot of people are put off from mathematics because they go to how they were taught mathematics at school. Well, the schooling system doesn't always aid people in that particular process of how these mathematical things are derived. They seem to miss quite a lot of the basic principles, and it can be strange getting to a certain age and then imagining that you have to learn it all again. Not learn it all, but learn the process. And if that process starts to show up contradictions that you have, that's where it becomes a little bit tricky. Is how do you deal with these contradictions that exist once you start looking into the things that you have took for granted. It was one of the most the best things for me to learn was something as simple as a triangle. Right now, there are rules and there are mathematical laws that govern a triangle. Yet there are people who will tell you that you don't know what you're talking about if you say that. Hopefully that's what I've been showing everyone, right? I have the guts to be able to say that a triangle has 180 degrees. People will tell differently. Blue Marble wants to talk about excess. He's got like, well, a triangle has 180, but look, here's a sphere. Well, yeah. Well, we have to add some extra angles into our triangles. We have to, because of the sphere. It's like, well, there's no sphere. It's a triangle. But they won't let it go. They keep talking about excess of angles. Well, triangles only have 180. There's no excess. There's no taking any away. Only 180. That's it. Simple. Done. You can't change it. You can't make it any different than what it is. Essie's done a video. Nice. Is that from... When was that from, Essie?
That was from last night.
Blue Marble Science on Earth's radius.
It's too funny, bro.
How long is it? Can we...
It's about 6.5 minutes.
Oh, nice. I'll tell you what, if I get this...
Break that.
And I'll get you guys on that. And there we go. Right, this is literally just been given to us from Essie. That's how live we are. Essie, thank you very much. It's just popped in. Last night, I believe, Blue Marble was triggered into going live. as we were doing our show last night. Now, I don't know whether he's done it again tonight. He might have gone off to go and do his live stream again. Who knows? Shout out to him. He's got a big one, right? Because what Blue Marble has just been coming into at the minute, he's making a name for himself. Blue Marble Science. He's got the backing of Rob Parks, a university professor, who says that they can have contradictory definitions within their Blue Marble Science. So yeah. Right. Do you want to pause and go over it? Anybody? Yeah, we're going to be going over. If you're in the Discord, can you see the...
Yes, I can see.
Right. We're going over this clip. As usual, same rules apply. If you need us to stop, tell us to pause. Here we go. I don't even know what this is.
Didn't Lemonbird, the closest we got was Lemonbird and smushing, right? It's smushing.
I was going to do my Lemonbird smushing and nushing, but you beat me to it. You have to whine. You have to whine. You have to whine. You have to whine when you say that, though. Smushing and good.
Yeah, and to respond to SE in the chat. Yes, SE, the Earth is not a sphere. The actual model that we use is an ellipsoid, and the ellipsoid does not have a constant radius. The radius is changing. We all
There you go. Changing.
Yep.
A changing radius. Blue Marble Science speaks. He knows, you knows. Changing radius. I like it.
know this.
And as a follow-up,
So he's contradicting
the
Rumpus.
oblateness is
Well, a changing radius. I'm guessing so, yeah, because elevations.
Because last night Rumpus was pertinent on that radius being 1 generally.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you establish a baseline if you have a differing baseline?
slight. So using the sphere is for navigation purposes, just fine. Using
Right.
it for using the sphere.
Oh, is that Larry? Does sound like Larry. Is he called Shoebill now? Larry GPS.
I think it's him.
Yeah.
Sounds a hell of a lot like him.
Wow.
I don't know because I cannot compare, so I cannot say.
Nice. Well, welcome back, Larry. I thought you'd gone. It's good to see you've given Blue some support, though. Good.
For something of only a few hundred square miles, just fine. But when you go transcontinental or you're going on very long GPS, it's all slightly oblate, as measured initially in 1760.
Yeah, the Earth
You
is
hear
an
that?
oblate sphere.
1760.
Uh-huh.
Where? When? In,
Captain Cook.
1760. I don't even know what that is. Is that Copernicus?
no, Copernicus was in 16th
16.
Century, so it would be 18th century, middle of 18th century.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps he'll tell us.
Spheroid. Therefore, you can't measure angles to build a house, a 2-story house.
Well,
Well,
what he's pitching
I-
is
Oh, wait a minute. Let me just look at. I don't know. Did Brenda just say you can't measure angles to build a house? That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Let's just check. that.
I think Brenda was sarcastic. Could be.
fucking 60.
Yeah, the Earth is an oblate spheroid. Therefore, you can't measure angles to build a house, a two-story house.
Well,
Well,
Right.
I think that's like backwards logic, isn't it?
Yes, for me it is.
It's like you can measure angles, right angles specifically, to build houses. Therefore, it cannot. Sort of like setting it up for a mode as Tolan's backwards. I don't know. Strange logic.
what he's pitching
I
a
heard-
shit, what he's pitching a shit fit about is the fact that the GPS data, XYZ data from Lake Pontchartrain clearly shows the change in the radius as you go from the north end of that causeway 24 miles to the south end of the causeway. The radius is constantly increasing, which is exactly what happens on an ellipsoid like the Earth.
No way.
I was
That's
waiting for you guys.
330 fucking feet, isn't it?
He's gonna say it now. He's gonna
Is
say
he?
340 feet. Yeah, I asked him. Yeah.
It still cannot be higher than this hump in the middle. Even in this spheroid, whatever, ellipsoid or whatever, it has to be lower, not higher. Even on this ellipsoid. So this is nonsense.
Yeah, the horizontal paradox is going to come into play at some point, isn't it?
I'd heard that if the Earth was the size of a pool ball, that would be legal for size tournament play. It's that.
all that stuff. But SE is trying.
What? He's
The
heard
genius.
that if it would be legal for tournament play.
Replay that. Was that Shield, the genius?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Everybody needs. Is Chikey not in there? It's like a Chikey. The house moved. Blue. Listen to this. This is. I'm going to have to keep an eye out. Is he on there? Yeah. He's here. He's in the room. Here we go.
The Earth.
I'd heard that if the Earth was the size of a pool ball, that would be legal for size tournament play. It's that.
all that stuff. But
The ellipsoid.
It'd get a bit dirty, wouldn't it? All that water and earth rolling about on the. I'm not too sure that'd be legal myself. But hey, you can imagine whatever you want. Wow.
But SE is trying to make a mountain out of a molehill here. He's bringing into question.
I'd hesitate to say that you're talking about horizontals, are you? Because there's no mountains there. There's no hump. And there's no drop.
No molehill.
And he's not even talking about a drop now. He's talking about a rise. He's done away with his drop. He's going up 333 feet. Or perhaps even more.
340, I believe.
The fact that the radius of the Earth over that 24 miles changes about 340 feet. Okay.
340 feet.
You heard
so
it.
not drop 340 feet up.
Yep, on one side.
Wow.
Wait, it means that this is concave now? Curve? I
Slope?
don't know.
No, that's the beauty of it. You don't lose the curve somehow. You get to keep both.
But you can't
I don't know
have
how.
a-
Don't ask me how.
You can't have 340 feet change and keep horizontal being zero slope. That's just not possible. You can't measure that 330 odd feet being a distance without there being a change.
I know, bro. I know. It's unbelievable.
Contradictions everywhere. And he's in a group of friends. There's nobody going to point that out to him, or are they just going to let him say it?
Imagine a 34-story building just there at the edge.
But it was in the middle. Can you not remember? We had the hotel in the middle, didn't we?
Yeah, that's Hotel Rakia in the middle,
Yeah.
but this is at the edge. This is at the edge now. They moved it.
It just gets weirder and weirder. At some point, somebody's got to say, come on, this model's ridiculous.
Wasn't that Hoymar that gave us the hotel in the middle? I think
Yeah,
I made a meme out of
that
it.
brought all of this back. It's
That's
Hoymar
right.
that dropped dead Blue. If you were going to thank anybody, Blue, thank Hoymar. He was the one that started this.
Yeah.
He brought all of this back and then dumped it on you. Because he couldn't go to Bob's. Bob was having his own little mental breakdown at the time. And he couldn't deal with it. So he went over to Blue Marbles. And now, Blue, it's your turn.
What it should do.
And you mean mountain out of a molehill, literally.
On the Earth's ellipsoid, isn't the difference between the two radii about 24 miles?
Something like that.
No, no, no. Specifically, that's the difference in the two semi-major axes, because when you're
Semi-major axes.
What the hell is that?
Major axes.
What's that?
First time I hear that myself.
It's not the first time. Well, the first time I've ever heard of that. But, I mean, this is old. This is 6 years old, this arguments.
Yeah.
They're having to come around. They're so circular. They've got nothing else. They've not got any actual argument. So they've got these paralogisms that they just push on each other. And they gather together in rooms like Blue Marble Science Discord channel. If you want all to see all of the globe proofs, Blue Marble Science has them over there on his Discord channel. I'll promote it for you, Blue. Yeah, get over there. He's going to tell you, look, this is it's like a globe meeting where you can all tell each other your paralogisms about your model. It's a nice place.
You're talking about the radius. You're talking about the radius of curvature, and at the
radius of curvature. Did he just make that up?
Yep.
Here we go. That's Larry again, isn't it? It's good to hear Larry back again. Here we go. Listen to this.
Semi-major axes, because when you're talking about the radius, you're talking about the radius of curvature.
Talking about the radius of curvature. Now, I've never heard that before, right? I'm going to Google it now on my phone. Everybody else do it. See what results we come up with. Radius of curvature. Oh, there you go. It's on there. In differential geometry, the radius of curvature, R, is the reciprocal of the curvature. Oh.
R equals 1 over K.
Diameter.
Wow.
Height.
Is that a cookie recipe?
You'll be amazed at this. This picture.
No, this 1 over K is in case of space curve. So it involves space curve being curved.
That's where the K comes in. Well, at least they chose the right letter, not a C.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Oh, it's a bit big, isn't it? There you go. Can you see the diameter? I'm not so sure that's right. But hey, who am I? It looks more like a hypotenuse if you were to ask me, but not a diameter. But hey, this is the globe model height and the radius of curvature there. Don't know what it's pointing at.
What the hell is that?
It doesn't. I don't know. I call that a vacuous. It's a vacuous drawing. Doesn't even mean anything really. But that's your radius of curvature. So no doubt Blue Marble will be able to explain it.
I've seen some coffee filters that look like that.
The radius of curvature, that's what you're talking about.
And at the North Pole, the radius of curvature is much longer. It's 3970, although that's on the ellipsoid, that's the B semi-major axis, which is shorter. But the center of the curvature of the curvature of the meridian at the pole, that center point is below the center of the Earth.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
Wow. I don't
Below.
know. Do you want to hear that again?
My God.
Does everybody want to hear that again? Just to...
Center is below the center. Okay.
Well, listen to this again, because I mean, Larry only Larry can explain this, like Larry does.
The center of the curvature of the curvature of the meridian at the pole, that center point is below the center of the Earth.
Oh, okay.
The center point of what?
Of something is below.
The center point of the radius of curvature at.
But still, on the sphere or this oblate spheroid or whatever, it means if it is below, it means that this is more up also. So I don't know. They are talking about below like down or below like up. So I don't know in which direction they are measuring this below.
Yeah.
Also, he said the North Pole has a 1 mile larger radius, right? I believe he said that. 3970, something like that.
Shouldn't it be quite opposite? Like on the
Yeah.
equator, it should be longer.
That's exactly what I was just going to ask. I wonder what it is at the equator then.
Even more longer than longer.
A lot more in their model.
Who knows?
Yeah,
as a matter of
let's try not to speak for them on their model, because obviously we best leaving this in the hands of Blue Marble now. He's taken over this.
Yeah.
He's got Larry over there helping him out. Sorry, Shoebill. This is genius. If anybody wants to get this clip, this is on SE's channel. The clip that he's done. That's what we're going over. So if you want to hear it as a whole clip, go over to SE's channel to listen to this. We'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Well, as a percentage of the major axis, what is that like? It's far less
3%.
than 3%.
A couple percent. Yeah, 3%. It's something.
Yep. That's pretty small. That's pretty small.
It's like the same thing with the orbit. You know, the orbit is slightly eccentric, like a 0.016 or 0016, something like that.
Yeah, orbits are elliptical.
Yeah,
Blue's gonna get upset soon.
Brenda is the 3%, like this bulge on the sun.
Yeah.
So
it's not much.
She asked the guy. She asked him, and he said 3%.
Yeah. 3% bulge.
Was it a bulge? I'm not sure what that was, to be honest with
3%
you.
of the size of the radius.
That's what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
That's one hell of a bulge.
Yeah. Yeah, Brenda doesn't think it's only 3%.
You could figure out then the size of a cue ball or a billiard ball, and then calculate 3% of that and translate it into millimeters.
You could do that. And the thing is,
It wouldn't be legal. It'd be a trick ball.
It'd be hopping all over the place.
They would know.
You'd be the laughing stock in billiard ball. They'd throw you out.
Yeah.
Luckily, you wouldn't get a beating if you were playing for money or something like that. For real.
I've actually seen diagrams where you have like 4 circles, and one of them is the orbit of the Earth and slightly eccentric. And of course, you can't tell the difference between the two.
Shout out.
It's in diagrams. Nice one, Shill. Good.
I believe we have the least eccentric orbit in the solar system. I'm not sure though.
Yeah.
Wow, the least. I believe. I wouldn't know.
That's true.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. But here's the bottom line to it, SC. If I had shown you those XYZ that data from Pontchartrain, and all 3 of those radii were the same, then you would have reason to call bullshit, because the damn Earth is not a sphere.
It's not a sphere. It's not.
Flat earther.
Flat earther, Blue. We knew it.
Look at that. Wow. It's not Blue Marble. He's just copying us, really, isn't he? When we say it's not flat, now Blue's coming over. Well, I'm going to be getting that. It's not a sphere either. Hey, I like it.
Oh, yeah.
So goodbye, spherical geometry.
Yeah, because spherical geometry only works on spheres. That's the whole thing. I mean, a radiusless sphere, but still. The Euclidean sphere.
It is elliptical.
No, perfect one. Yeah.
And even worse, it's
Laugh
not
all
a
you want
regular.
to, SC. You're making a goddamn fool of yourself. Keep doing that, and I will kick your ass out of here.
Wow, SE. What were you doing? Did you have the nerve to comment in Blue Marble's chat?
I might have.
Oh, wow. Oh, and see, they're all trying to have a genuine chat, aren't they? And you can see that Blue Marble sat in the background just watching you commenting on his YouTube channel. And getting... Yeah.
I was dying of laughter. Oh, man, was I dying of laughter.
You see the power of the YouTube commenter. When you're doing a live show, Blue, I'll give you a help. Yeah. Try not to read the chat. Especially if you've got people that are, able to sort of play about with your mind. Get in your head. Somebody like SE. He's already got you in his head anyway, hasn't he? All of them, everyone. Like, you're like a superstar. If you start commenting in their chat, they'd be like, oh, SE's here. Get in.
They lose their shit.
And why kick see Montreal? He's getting more
the comments
fame.
In the chat. Yeah.
He's more famous. So
it's giving Blue something to come in. It's giving Blue chance to interject in his own live stream. That's the reason he went live. I think.
He's just saying that. He would never boot me. I mean, we're like practically buddies.
It's like a show of power. It's you reckon?
Yeah. He wants to flex his muscles.
Nice.
And even then, it's not a
That's a good
perfect ellipsoid. It's not a perfect ellipsoid. It's lumpy, right?
Well, we
Or-
use an
I mean,
ellipsoid model.
It's gone for hills and valleys.
Bumpy ellipsoid.
Lumpy.
It's a
Not
lumpy-
sphere, not
bumpy-
sphere.
Yeah, not a sphere. Well, Blue, you say
Not
it's an
ellipsoid.
ellipsoid. It's not that either. Good job Brenda was there, right? Blue would be making so many mistakes if Brenda wasn't there to keep correcting him.
Model. We use an ellipsoid model, and then we modify it with a geoid model.
Okay.
Right, so he uses an ellipsoid model, and then you modify it with a geoid model.
It's too good, huh?
I only did surveying, and we just literally measured the land using a tool, established horizontals. That's all we did. Pretty practical. We didn't use any models.
Yeah, the geoid is orthometric. It does have variation in
Geoid's orthometric?
So now this is geoid, which is not ellipsoid and not sphere.
Yeah, it's orthometric. It's got right angles. Straight lines. That's fantastic for Larry to be telling him that. Do you reckon they'll have that? Do you reckon they'll not throw him out for being a flat earther? Talking about straight lines when they're talking about ellipsoids.
Yeah, because can I just say, I thought their model didn't have straight lines.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, but Larry can get away with saying that, I bet.
the vertical called the deflections, the psi eta components. Yeah, those are minor. Those are in arcseconds. They're minor. So the ellipsoid, the WGSA4 ellipsoid, is the mathematical description that's a best fit of the total volume of the planet.
The total volume. He did just say that then, didn't he? The total volume.
I think so.
Wow.
But this total volume can have different shapes. For example, you can have sphere with same volume as cube with the same volume in total. So I don't understand. So the same volume of what? Of sphere, ellipsoid, geoid, or cube?
Well,
Complete
volume
nonsense.
would presume you've got axes in 3 dimensions and measurements of each of them, and then a knowing of the shape that you're talking about as well. It's crazy.
I think that would be correct. And Blue Marble at the beginning of this clip said that they have data from X, Y, Z coordinates. So I think these are straight lines.
Yeah, but seeing as they're going to struggle for the center, they can never have a center. These measurements must be total X, Y, Z, you know. The total expanse of them, which, I don't know. I claim that's bullshit, Larry. You're just passing on your paralogisms to people. It's dangerous. You're doing that. Stating false claims. Impossible false. Good to have you back though, Larry. Helping Blue out. I bet it is Larry, isn't it, Blue? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's complicated. And there's no apology for that, but it's only complicated when you're looking at the high detail and high precision. Because if you're on a fucking sailboat or a cruise liner, it doesn't much matter. You can use the haversine and a 39, 60 mile radius, and you're not going to be off, but hardly twice the length of your ship over any great distance. I mean, the scales, they got no concept of the scale.
Yeah, scale is a ratio. I definitely have a concept of that, Larry. I don't know.
When you're dealing with arc seconds and then going 800 miles, you're still not going to, completely screw up your navigation.
Can I pause?
Yeah. Is he talking about arc seconds over 800 miles?
Well, can I just say, what's the purpose of the Haversine formula? Isn't that to transform something into something else?
It's
like a transformative equation.
It's what we use it for is to drive the globe model affliction into people, to get them to say that you can have shorter than a straight line distance, shorter than a straight line. Just confuses the shit out of people, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Haversine formula, but as far as what I've heard, it sounds like it's a transformative equation, which means you're transforming it from one thing into another. And what they're transforming it into is a globe. So from what are they transforming it to from?
Yeah, the Haversine is what Bob used to have a straight line, a shorter than a straight line distance on a plane. So to me, it's a fantasy that just screws with people's minds.
I think they are playing with definition, because Rumpus said here that this is shortest distance, and on a sphere it is curved line. This shortest distance. And
they have their magic word, great circle.
Yes, but still in space, inside this circle, you can create chord line, which is shorter.
Of course.
So doesn't make any sense for me. But
yeah,
what would say that this line, this chord line, is shorter than straight line, because he is naming this line on a sphere straight. Because on a sphere it is shortest distance. It means it is straight line. So real straight line should be shorter. For me, this is just psychological problems, but nothing else. But this is what generally Rumpus said. So this would be implication. This shorter line than straight line is real straight line compared to not real straight line on a sphere. So that's it. This is just trickery, nothing else.
Were you not here when Bob, the science guy, cut 2,000 miles off a route once? 2,000 miles shorter than a straight line.
Yeah, he kept striking all of the videos that we put out to do with all of that. So there isn't that much stuff on my channel, because like Bob was literally copyright striking them all because he said some stupid shit that is obviously crazy. And that's what he had.
First he told Rakia, shout out Rakia, I think he shaved off like 12 miles, but then he went all in with me after. He shaved off like 2,000 miles off a distance. I kid you not. So first 12 with Rakia, and then with me like thousands of miles. Crazy.
Yeah, if I hadn't have been told about it, hadn't heard it for myself, I literally wouldn't believe it, because it's ridiculous to hear adults come up with this stuff when they've been led into it purely because of their model. No other reason for saying this sort of stuff other than to defend a model that makes them say stupid shit. I mean, it's hilarious, really, but I mean, it's pretty sad as well. The minds that are going to be lost, and these people have been pushing their own paralogisms. I mean, you heard Larry Scott there, crazy old fool, just repeating nonsense that he's probably made up. It's like he doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense that he's talking, but Blue's having to agree with it.
That's the beauty. They have to support each other's bull, while us, we call each other out. What do you mean, man? What? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's the difference. It's crazy. They have to support each other, no matter how crazy or nonsensical the statement is.
Yeah, and it's okay to just agree, right? They don't ever have to explain it. Like, at least when we have a disagreement or a non-understanding, you can ask the questions to gain a better understanding from people. And there's quite a few people in here, so you can get this opinion from a few different ways. And you can usually resolve whatever it is and come to a better understanding because of the questioning we can have within each other. Blue Marble just had to agree with Larry, talking rubbish about something, using the have sign. I mean, nobody does that. You don't get on a boat, do that nowadays.
Curvature after the fact. Yeah. I mean, it's nonsensical. It's nonsensical. You measure something straight, then you throw curve on it. What is that?
You have one model and then another model, but the model of the geoid is orthogonal. It's got straight lines.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Genius, this. Genius.
But in geodesy, that shit matters. And it matters a lot. And it matters obviously. It jumps right up and bites you in the ass.
Good morning. Does everybody hear me?
That's it.
Oh, Dogma. Wow. Blue, you're honoured to get all of those people involved with it.
Oh yeah, Blue has a swinging server.
Full paralogism squad. The dilithiest paralogism pushers, as I call them.
That's a good one.
All working out what they each got to say. Boom, marble, science. Yeah. I don't envy you, Blue, but I mean, if you want to make a name for yourself, if you want to be up there, if you think Simon Dan's doing a bad job, Conspiracy Cats is gone, who else is there? I don't know. I mean, like, Blue Marble might see a chance for him. Blue Marble Science, obviously, the person. He might be able to push his Blue Marble Science cult across. Because, I mean, you do have to go with what the head priests say.
Well, one of them showed up for a brief. He's gone now again, but soundly showed up.
Yeah. Yeah, he has
he
a little
affirmed.
bit. He's come around a couple of times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he affirmed the 90-foot hump. We got an affirmation. I had a nice talk with him, but the other guys are no show.
Oh, I've just been sent a Flat Earth Debate Science versus Pseudoscience Discord server. Has it gone back up again? Have you got a new one?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been sent one.
Good stuff. We'll support Betty. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like the Flat Earth Debate, Science versus Pseudoscience, has put up a Discord server again. Good to see them back. I don't know how well that other one was working for them, whether they had enough people to go in there, have a chat, conversations and whatnot. We're up for talking. Maybe that's what Blue was after. Blue, is that what you wanted? Do you want to chat with us over on Science versus Pseudoscience? New channel. Let's get them going again. Let's get it. Let's promote it. That'd be good. But yeah, Blue Marble, I think, is setting himself up for, since he's got the name Blue Marble Science, he is the head guy for the science department of the Blue Marble. Grandpappy. Blue Marble.
Yeah, Blue is the man.
Yeah.
The voice of God, we used to call him.
Yeah.
Remember Blue? Yeah.
Well, the Blue Marble Science cult. It's a bit too much, really, but I mean, you do have to go along with the narrative, right? Anybody, one of their other high priests, say something, you just have to agree with it. It's for the globe. We do this for the globe. Blue Marble. Blue Marble Science. Frantic bunny ears. If you can't establish an actual proof, argument, or any sort of experiment, did Blue ever come back and let us know what the method is called for, and what the purpose of measuring these angles? Just two angles, that's all. Twangles. Just go to two different places and measure two angles. And then, as we know, through our understanding of geometry, you can do fuck all with an angle. And like they say, they've just got two in different places. They're not related to each other in any way whatsoever.
Speaking of geometry and model, I'm confused. Maybe you can help me out here. Soundly told me personally there's a 90-foot hump on the Rakia Bridge. And Blue also told me, well, not personally, he was speaking to me, and I was in the chat. You heard him, 340-foot height difference on what end? Now, how could that be? How could you have both those things? Can you have those things? Both of them?
You cannot. This is impossible.
Impossibilities. But if they don't have impossibilities, then what else do they have? You've got to give them something.
So imagine now, he told me that I'm standing on one side of Lake Rakia. He's on the other side of Lake Rakia. And our feet are, just give me 1 sec. And our feet we can draw a chord and on the same level. Then he envisions a 90-foot hump of water, while also dropping at the same time from either side. Also, the water is dropping. Now that's some pretty fanciful. I don't know what to call it.
So from one end to the middle is dropping, and from middle to other end is going higher.
Yeah.
Strange.
And now we have Blue, who also said there's a 90-foot hump, also agreed at the time. And now he's saying that there's on one end a 340-foot rise from one end of Lake Pontchartrain to the other. Now that's, to me, that's fantastical, Blue. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, he's contradicted his hump by saying that there is a rise at the other end. We did have it a bit ago. The elevation change, the vertical change, but no elevation change. It's a contradiction. It's another one of the contradictions that are inherent in their model.
Yep, that one is standard. You can have a hump or a drop in their mind without elevation change. No problem. All day long.
Yep. Yeah. I've added your video into the thing there. Put it in the chat. If anybody wants to watch that. Oh, look, there's Babs. Wow. We must have done something extra special to trigger Babs in here. What's Babs got to say? I don't know. Let me have a look at this. I'll go over this because Babs is one of these ones. He used to call himself the Flat Earth Messiah, but he seems to have gone off that a bit now. So he says, so basically what flat level Earth is, I don't know if this is a joke, is a group of truck drivers, garbage men and janitors discussing how they don't understand science. Seems legit.
Why don't you tell us what science is then, there, Mr. Babs?
Well, can I just check?
We're talking about geometry, and this guy talks about science. Like,
No. You don't listen. Don't get offended just yet.
Oh no, I'm not.
Right, we'll just check.
Yeah.
Anyone here a truck driver?
No, but I did just drive a truck out of my shop.
Anyone a garbage man?
No.
Does it count if my daddy was a truck driver?
And janitors. Anyone a janitor?
I've been known to push a broom, but no, I'm not I'm a mechanic.
So when Babs, the Flat Earth Messiah, is talking about flat level Earth, he's obviously not talking about us. Because none of us are those things. None of us fit that bill. So why did you deem it necessary for you to come in here and talk about your fascination with flat level Earth, Babs? None of us have been talking about that. We've been talking about geometric impossibilities of the globe model.
I think I triggered him.
Not about dirt or anything. Weird.
I'm pretty sure I triggered him.
Yeah, but you're not actually a garbage man, are you? It's just
Absolutely not.
That's one of those weird misconceptions that these guys have decided to do. That they can just argue a non-existence of something. It's really bad.
By the way, all respectful jobs. I just heard somebody saying just today, listen to this. Chris Matt. I heard who was it? Left Lane says that
he's a truck
he
driver,
makes around $800-900 a day driving his truck. Shout out Left Lane.
He's a truck driver, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
good
the sort
money,
of
my
people he's
friend.
talking about.
Yeah. And Left Lane's a baller, by the way. Shout out Left Lane. So what you got to say now, Chris? Bet you makes more money than you.
Misconceptions is another one of the things that they have.
Demeaning. This was all about demeaning somebody. He thinks he's
They're
better
just
than these
jobs.
people. Yeah.
The jobs
Everyday
people
jobs.
have. Yeah. There's somebody saying they can't be fulfilling jobs or whatever. Of course you can. I'm
All right, I'm
guessing.
gonna hang on. I'm gonna take this in a little bit different direction
Go on.
because he's saying that these people, the people in those jobs, have no understanding of science, is what he's saying. I think.
Yes,
So
that
people-
and demeaning, like how can a garbage man know anything about science? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what is
Wait
science?
a minute. Like, you've got to separate this. We're talking about blue marble science. Right? It's separate. It's not, like, don't group this in with science. It's not. We are specifically talking about blue marble science, frantic bunny ears, right? Go on, carry on, sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, those jobs, those people, their jobs aren't science. Like,
yeah, they
might
are.
have-
Yes, they are, Rob. Like the true science, the acquisition of knowledge. Those people learn their trades to do whatever they do to do them more efficiently. They are gaining knowledge through what they do in every trade, in every job.
Shout out to all the garbage men, janitors, truck drivers, construction workers, all the people that keep our world going. We couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah, every job is done by somebody who does that job to the best of their ability. Now, they want to strive to do it better. They're using the scientific method to improve every day, practically. They're actually doing that. And I don't know whether you're trying to demean people or whatever and lump them in with flat level earth. What? Like, is that the only ones that can do them jobs? I mean, it's just confusing inside the minds of these people. I've not got a clue what must be going on. People like Babs.
I'd give money to see what kind of job this guy has, man. Just to follow him around for one day with a camera. I'd give money.
Wow, look at that. That's so demeaning, Chris. He's saying you don't need to be intelligent to drive a truck.
You see?
Look at that.
I'd like to see this little girly boy back up an 18-wheeler. I would pay money. And I'm sure you don't ever go to a truck stop, bro. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, it takes a whole lot of intelligence to fucking drive a truck because number one, there's about on a regular dash, there's over 73 different buttons that you have to fucking learn. Okay, that's not a stupid guy can do that. over 73 buttons. Okay, well, how many buttons you got to push? Like what? One on Discord to end the call because you're a scared little beep.
I bet you he's in a little cubicle, or maybe he's the mail delivery guy or something. And he's trying to act like he's some sort of rich dude, demeaning. Not that there's anything wrong with that job, but like I said, I pay money to see what job he has.
I mean, I would come from the standpoint that my dad came from for all of those years, and he was by far one of those people that didn't think that he was, that great of a fucking person, but he did know that his job is, if not the most important, but definitely up there with the most important jobs. If the trucks don't go across the countries, we don't get our shit. Truck drivers are the most important.
Bro, you got that right. 3 days. If the trucks stopped bringing us food, 3 days, we would all starve. You got that, Chris? You little soy boy.
Oh, he's driven a big, a stick shift, big rig truck.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Chris. If you've driven a big 18-wheeler, was it a 13, an 18, or a 21 speed?
He's talking about Truck Simulator.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Fuck that. he is. I've driven an 18 double over. If you know what that means. Bet you don't know what that means, Chris. Bet you don't know what bobtail means either, Chris. Go ahead, Bev. I'm done.
Yeah. This is the guy, right, that called himself the Flat Earth Messiah. But now just goes around demeaning people who have normal everyday jobs. Must be great to be people like that. This is the power of the globe that you get. It gives you the ability to look down on people. It gives you a chance to be a bigot, really. That's what Chris is showing everyone. We don't do that here. We don't. We just like to try and talk to people as though they're people, and everybody's equal round here. 12 speed.
When he says
that was a racer in my days, a bike. 12 speed.
Yeah. When he says not able to understand science, what he means is, read wiki and repeat what it says. That's it. No, he has no original thought.
Live with the contradictions of the globe model. That's what he
goes
means.
Standard. Yeah. That's standard. Yeah. And he used to be a flat earther.
Yeah, do you reckon? I reckon he's always been Flat Earth Society.
Yeah. Could be right.
It's just that, since we moved into the geometric argument, it's exposed who were the Flat Earthers and who were the Flat Earth Society. It's laid everybody out right now because it's obvious to see who the diletheist is. It doesn't take long now, does it? Couple of questions and you can be pinpointing somebody's contradictions. Babs is another one. He says, no, I go round asking old men that sit in Discord all day, claiming to be masters of math and geometry, what real world skills they have. Try thinking. And what sort of, what's been the answer so far, Chris? What have you got in your travels around Discords? What have you? What is there a consensus that you come into about what other people's real world skills are? Is there anything your bigoted mind has gleamed from this, asking people in Discord about their real world skills? It depends what you mean about real world. Can you define, Chris? Can you define real world? And do you accept contradictions and paradoxes in your real world? Because I'd say there is none. It's all right. Don't bother answering. We know you can't. You'd make yourself look stupid. You'd make yourself look more stupid than you already have. But good to have you back and around, Chris. It's been a while. As for me, I'm developing my communication real world skills whilst being in the Discord, trying to talk to people. But like Blue Marble says, we need to move out. We need to go into new areas. So that's what we're going to be doing soon. We're going to be setting up a conversation hour. Maybe 30 minutes, who knows? We're trying to go through bullet points and stuff. It should be good. Again, learning how to, what did you put? Develop our real world communication skills. Oh, look at Chris. Look at this for such an intelligent bigot from the globe side. Well, Flat Earth Society, let's say. He says, in the real world, you get paid for your skills. That's what skilled labour is. And that's something none of you have ever achieved.
How do you know? You've been stalking us or something?
Chris.
If Chris has been listening to the Discord for, I don't know, however long, we've been here for almost 7 years, he would realize that anybody who does concrete, carpentry, any kind of trade is potentially a skilled laborer. You dumb shit.
Yeah, I know one concrete layer that can buy him and sell him on credit any day of the week, probably with just one of his cards that he just has lying around. You fool.
He thinks he's just talking to this group that we have here, but I mean, he's not. This is going out on YouTube. I mean, there's not many people watch, but I mean, all of those people, this sounds like Chris Matt Babs, more commonly known. He's demeaning everybody. But that's okay, because everybody knows what to expect from people like that. That's all we've been dealing with for quite a while.
So
and
in
me
their
personally,
mind,
it doesn't bother me.
You know what's funny? In their minds, there's only one type of person that could exist in this world. Somebody that has been to college, been to university, got a piece of paper, right? Probably has it plastered on the wall, probably is working at nothing that he majored in about a third of the money somewhere else, right? But because he has that little piece of paper, he thinks that he's superior to other people. It's fascinating.
He's obsessed about the flat Earth. And
Yeah,
people that do that seem to be obsessed with us as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because we talk about negative about their model. It's like, to them, it's like, I don't know, like you're talking bad about their football team. You know? What are you talking about? The Celtics are better. No. I like the Bulls.
Chris, he's just a
Manchester United. No,
bigoted,
Liverpool.
flat Earth obsessed freak. I don't know why people are doing this. Babs, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you put yourself on public display like you are doing there? And just sort of showing yourself for who you are?
Imagine he walks into a bar and he starts talking like that. Oh boy.
That's terrible. Chris, it's obvious what you like. If you are like that in real life, that's got to be pretty bad. You can't be saying those sort of things, surely. I don't even want to put them on the thing, you know, to show everyone how bad it is. He's just saying that certain people have jobs that are better than other people. And having a better job. And all subjective, right? It's in whatever he decides is these good jobs. And then he then can demean everybody, however he wants.
Class discrimination.
Mm-hmm. No, Mobius Blue didn't come back. He'll be out finding out what the method's called and, you know, for what purpose surveyors actually do that. There isn't. They don't. And Blue probably won't come back. At what stage of the training do surveyors use the method that Blue Marble's been talking about? Must be somebody else's turn, right? Babs, you've done yourself out of it, really. But, I mean, again, thanks for coming round. Thanks for helping. Can we go back to the Blue Marble one? Let me get it out again. I don't think I finished it. Here we go. See, this is where I quite like this. Blue Marble says they just have their silly claims destroyed, but somehow they think they still have a argument. I guarantee you, not a one of them would be willing to do the same measurement. The same measurement. I don't know which measurement.
This impossible one over 200 miles, maybe?
Well, I don't know, because I don't think he put one, did he? Maybe a like Pontchartrain? I don't know.
You read my mind.
Yeah. Look
maybe he can tell Rakia how to measure the 340 feet.
Higher at one end than the other. Yeah. And the hump as well. You may as well go for all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rakia's there, and I'm pretty sure he does have that equipment available to him. It'd
He
just
said
be
many
a
times.
stop either
Yeah.
side of the bridge as he's passing.
All he needs is instruction from the
Yeah.
ballers how to do it. He's been asking for a long time, as
Yeah,
me.
as we all have, right? Yeah, we just need to know what the method is and how to go through with it. And Rakia's got the time, and he's got the money, and he's got the equipment. I've got everything. It's set up, ready. He's got a team of guys. I mean, this would be historic. He'd be able to do it. I'd like to get my name on this. Blue Marble's leading the way. I mean, he wants to get his name out there.
I'm thinking of skateboards with logos on them and stuff. Oh yeah, this could be big. We could all participate.
Yeah, you'll be able to say, look, after watching the latest Blue Marble video, I have to admit the skateboard paradox is wrong. It only works from one end.
One-way hill.
With the hump in the middle. Right, so Blue Marble says, I'm going to ask around. This is the bit that got me. I'm going to ask around to see if any of our British friends would be willing to do a reciprocal zenith measurement. Reciprocal zenith measurement.
That's their new thing. Go to.
Listen to this. Right? The top of Blackpool Tower or one of the building roofs back to the beach at Southport would be ideal. Bev will run from that like his ass is on fire and his head's catching.
He has good jokes, though.
I've said, get the English guys out there. Let us know, and we'll go down there and have a chat. I'll watch him doing it, just to keep a check.
What? No Irishmen, no Scottish, no, just Englishmen.
One of the British friends, British,
yes,
British.
yes.
Yeah, that's all of them, isn't
British.
it? Yeah.
Oh, you said British. Oh,
Sorry,
I thought you said English.
If any of our British friends will be willing to to do a reciprocal zenith measurement.
I thought he was being prejudiced. My bad.
Top of Blackpool Tower. Literally, I'd film that, right? A guy going up to the top of Blackpool Tower with a theodolite to measure an angle back to Southport Beach. Fantastic. I would. I'd do that live for you guys. And then Stephen Mudd said, this is another good one. He says, and Bev tried to debunk it by claiming the triangle below the cross line in the drawing of diverging zeniths, as shown in your video, is 180 degrees. Which it is. The triangle on the underneath side of the diverging verticals shows the triangle axiom. The triangle will be formed on the side which are less than 180 degrees. There's more on the top, so therefore the triangle will be formed on the underneath of that line, because triangles have 180 degrees. Stephen Mudd. It's a good job he's on their team, but I'm not too good. I'm not thinking he's helping Blue Marble with his paralogisms.
Yes, I am not sure if he is aware of new wisdom of the stage. So I don't know.
No.
He have to talk to some high priest maybe first.
Yeah, you can't contradict your high priest, because you obviously you'll find out who the high priest is and whether the high priest is scared of this newcomer, whether this newcomer's actually a minder for the high priest. Because Blue Marble Science is going to have to be the highest of the high priests. He's the final word. He is Blue Marble Science. I think one he is. Catch you later, Gadget. Can we have somebody else taking the mod on the YouTube channel? Thank you very much. Asking, you're going to have to cover for Gadget now. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so let me check the YouTube, because I don't like to get involved with all of these backwards and forwards of the chats and all of that in YouTube. I'd much rather have that conversation here, because I think it can be staged, these things. There we go. Blue Marble, right? I'm pretty sure I asked Blue. You're a glutton for punishment, Bev. You'll come out and witness it if I can set up right. I think he's out talking about that. Measuring angles to Blackpool Tower. Yeah. Yeah, like I say, Blue. If you want to go to Southport, get some of your guys to go to Southport and measure an angle to Blackpool, and then measuring an angle back from Blackpool to Southport. Yeah, measuring angles. Fantastic.
Maybe wave some lasers.
Well,
how about that, Blue?
That of a night time. Yeah, we could do laser waving as well. Make a weekend of it. I'm sure we could get some people together for doing that. It might be quite a bit of a long trek. You want to go to Bedford? Because then you can help Rumpus out. Blue, I would say you'd be much better off going to Bedford Canal and doing it from bridge to bridge over the 6 miles than doing it, Southport to Blackpool. It'd be much better. In fact, if it's that easy, you should have just told Rumpus to do that. I mean, why didn't they do that? Just put a theodolite on each bridge, and you can measure the drop of the bridge each side. Simple. Just measure the height of the bridges above the water, then you know the height of the thinger is standard from water to water. Dead easy. In fact, I think we should set that up for you, Blue. We'd definitely be able to get... Oh, how many cameras could we get there? I bet we could get about 10 P1000s, Nikon Coolpix P1000s. We're covering it from every angle, both sides. We need to go there anyway. I could go and do a recce for you, Blue. Well, next time we go down there with the lad. Got my new car. Well, the missus has got her new car. Trip to Bedford. Take a few pics. Give you a layout. You get the guys down there with the theodolites, measure some angles. Bish bash bosh. Much better than Southport to Blackpool. I don't think they'd allow you to take a theodolite up to the top of Blackpool Tower either. Pipe dreams, Blue. You could go to the sea wall though, like we have. Yeah, there you go. Rumpus and his boy. Rumpus and the boy. On a trek. Get a theodolite or two, one each. I don't know whether they'd be able to leave each other though. They'd have to protect each other. So, logic. It's logic night, isn't it? And there is no logic in contradictions. The logic will show you where the contradictions are. It'll point them out to you. There'll be glaringly obvious contradictions. And I would imagine that once you've got logic and you come up with a contradiction, you also have a way to deal with the outcome. Because if there's a contradiction, then only one, maybe neither, can be true. And how do you work out which one is the true one? Logic. Put yourself through that reasoning process. And have a few people around you to check with. But check yourself with your friends. Test them and get them to help you in your learning process. That's what I do. There's loads of people that are way smarter than you are. That's the way I look at it. And if you also look at it that everybody has something to teach you, I don't think you can go far wrong. Balanced Truth says, if you check out Blue's last video, he writes a contradiction. Can't even see it. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I've learned in this, is that I can see these contradictions, but spotting the diletheist is much easier now with logic, because you can see the contradiction and you can see that there's a group of people that cannot see the contradiction. They can't see any contradictions. If the contradiction is based around some sort of existential fact, where reality is related to the model, they just can't see the contradiction in it. And go on, sorry.
They are not checking their model with reality. That's why they don't bother. So,
yeah.
Model just like computer game with no link with to reality.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have heard a lot on the model. Right, that's all they're concerned about is what happens on the model. Yeah, you're right. They don't check that with reality. They don't link the two facts together. What they must do at some point to get so upset about it.
Yes, that's why if they say that the shorter distance on the sphere, it should be straight line, but if they draw this chord line, it is outside of or inside, rather inside the sphere, so they don't think about it. Don't think about chord lines because they don't fit this spherical model. So, but this is for me, that would be dead end. But for them, it is the only way. They have to at least deny some fraction of reality, bigger and bigger fraction.
Yeah, it's the link to reality. It's the existential. Thank you very much, Buster, for bringing that one. It's the existential part. The stuff that they have to try and hide from themselves, and the existential paradoxes that they have to accept. Whereas I would say there's no such thing as an existential paradox. You cannot have paradoxes in reality. Just not possible. Logic states the law of non-contradiction. You can't contradict things. You're not allowed to do that within logic, and logic is based around reality. It has to be. You can't start logicking things that aren't reality. At least that's what I say. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that say differently. I guess it's up to everybody in individual. This is where these sort of things that we're talking about now, these are all personal and how you deal with it. Because there are people, will be people, there'll definitely be more people that get upset with us talking about reality like we do. Because they want they want a model to be able to be part of their reality. But there are many things that disprove many models.
That would be only so-called virtual reality. So this is for me like oxymoron, because if it is virtual, it means that this is not real. But some people think that this is real enough for them. If they think long enough, and they are long enough in their model, they start to think that this model is real, maybe. So I don't know, but
they can conjure up things, give them definitions in their mind, and thereby make them real. Brenda's told us that. Brenda's told us that he has the ability to do those things mentally.
Yes, mentally, yes, but still, you have to check with reality to fulfill Aristotle's definition of truth. But if they are just conjuring, it's like conjuring realms in computer games. So they don't need to be checked against real physical reality. So Brenda thinks that this is enough, and Brenda thinks that this is science. So this is horrible. If this is science, what Brenda says, it means that these computer games designers or creators are scientists also.
Yeah. Yeah, and artists.
Artists, yes, artists and
Scientists, art. I mean, there's no end. Once you explode your logical thought process, anything can happen. That's one of the dangers of exploding your mind. The exploded mind is dangerous because it can allow people to have these paralogisms and just pass them on to other people. Making claims is a pretty serious business. That's why I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. That I can substantiate every claim that I've ever made. Level is horizontal. You don't really need to make any more statements than that. You can go with geometry, and I would say that Euclidean geometry is the way we describe reality, without bending any of the straight lines or any conceptual bending of the straight lines. It's just not needed.
bending straight line is leading to contradiction. So in logic, there is no use to do such things.
Yeah.
But they are doing them, of course, to defend model, but they are just producing more and more stupid contradictions.
Yeah, Saragaki is not here at the minute, but the laws of communication, the law of identity, the law of the excluded middle, and the law of non-contradiction. Really basic concepts. I don't think you could really get any more basic than that for communicating with people. Stick to those three, at least those three. And communication should be good. You should at least be able to converse with people in an open manner.
And we have speech. So speech is logic by itself.
Yeah.
So if you say something like contradiction in terms like dark brightness, so everyone will laugh. So it means that people have basic grasp of logic, because they are able to speak. Maybe not very convoluted or not very geometrical, because you have to have some kind of geometrical imagination. Not everybody has that at the first glance, including me. But in language, we have simple things to say, and contradictions could be revealed only by using language. So basics for logic belongs to everyone who can speak.
Yeah, and the communication can only improve that logical process too. The more we communicate with each other, the more we become to understand.
Yes, we are improving our speech by speaking. So it means that, and our speaking, while improved, is also improving logic. So it is like self-perpetuating thing.
Right. Yeah, check this out. Our friend Stefan Mudd is doing some good work. I don't know who point to point is, and create belief, I think, on the YouTube chat. They've been keeping the thread going, but this is the new thing. I've been saying about other people that have been leading up to this. So I've underlined a couple of bits. He says, he's talking to point and says, every point on Earth has its own vertical. Perpendicular to this, we have that point's horizontal. I'll read that again. Every point on Earth has its own vertical. Perpendicular to this, we have that point's horizontal.
Nonsense. Horizontal points don't
We
exist.
have a vertical point, and perpendicular to that point is the horizontal point. He's got 2 points, being one of them being vertical and one of them being horizontal, but they're the same fucking thing.
Yes, same
It's crazy.
points being vertical and horizontal at the same time.
Yeah.
And
But aren't those? Hang on. Horizontal is a line. Horizontal is not a point.
yes, and we are
Point is
explaining.
well defined.
Yes, but we are explaining why it is impossible for the point to be in relation to itself, because we are talking about point that has double relation to itself.
Yeah. It's like every point is its own point, and its perpendicular relationship between these 2 points is horizontal and vertical. Everywhere, at every point, at all times. Such a crazy diletheist viewpoint.
Yes, complete nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. But this is the bit that I want to get to, because this has been set up by Flat Earth Society for quite a bit. He says, a tangent line to a plane curve at a given point. That's right. That's right.
Plane curve, no, there is no such thing as plane curve.
Yeah. Like they said, there's no such thing as a flat plane. But if you start talking about flat planes, then it's with the view to bringing in the plane curve. The curve plane. It's coming in. This is Stefan Mudd is bringing this in. Blue Marble is going to help them to do this. That's where we're going. We're bending the plane. A tangent line to a plane curve at a given point is the straight line that just touches the curve at that point. Vacuous statement means nothing. It has no sense to it, because he's put plane curve. Doesn't exist. He's thrown a unicorn in there. And expecting people to get away with it. And point to point comes back. Anyway, he says, this line is perpendicular to the vertical at that point.
No, this is not non sequitur, because this line is perpendicular to vertical, this tangent, because this is a line.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it is on this point or other point. Every point on this horizontal or this tangent is perpendicular. So this is not vacuous statement. This is, I would say that this is false statement. This at that point, this addition is not only redundant here, but it is also false. Because if he says that at the point, it means that would be an exclusive statement, that only at that point. And this is not true, because at every point on that tangent line would be perpendicular.
But that perpendicular
Also,
would also be a straight line.
yes, that's why, yes. So not only at that point.
Yeah.
Also at that point, yes, but at every point on that line.
Yeah, and all of the perpendiculars anywhere on that line would always be parallel.
Yes, of course, this is implication, but
that's
still...
That's the geometric understanding that Euclidean geometry gives you. That's what Blue Marble has to deny. And that's what all of these people like Stefan also, they've got confused by, obviously, when one person starts off and they say what the globe has to have happening, then other people, they may not be quite as smart and they may not understand that it's what the globe has to happen, and they relate that to reality and they say that that thing then has to happen in reality. Well, it doesn't. But you then get people who are so under the spell of the high priests that they will literally imagine that the high priests were talking about reality and not a model. And there's quite a lot of those people around as well, I think, at the minute. I don't want to put anyone down. I'm not going to name any names. But, yeah, you know when you hear one of these people talking about this thing, you know how they're working it.
Yes, but still, if they have their model and they insist that this model is reality, it means that this sphere is real, but this tangent line being horizontal is not real. So if they are trying to put this vertical on this horizontal line, not real, they are not depicting reality anymore. Because for them, they have bending horizontal, not straight line. So this depiction with a tangent line to a sphere or a circle is not depicting reality for them. It's not, it doesn't fit even their model. So nonsense. Even for them, they should reconsider this argument with verticals at the point on the tangent point of the horizontal line, or being tangent line or whatever. So because it doesn't match their model at all.
Right, I've got another one here from Betty. This one. This is one for everybody, right? I consider it as Betty trying to sort things out in his own head. But this is a question for everyone. Just to ask yourself, right? He says, is level being horizontal consistent with the Earth being a globe? Literally Earth being a globe. A little g also. Is level being horizontal consistent with the Earth being a globe? Point to point says model affliction, Betty. And I say, are you asking yourself? Because it should be a question that everybody asks themselves to sort out this sort of thing. Is level being horizontal consistent with the Earth being a globe? So I ask him, are you asking yourself? And he says he's asking me. But then he gives us this bit of advice. He says, if level being horizontal is not consistent with the Earth being a globe, then level being horizontal implies that the Earth is not a globe. In which case, level being horizontal implies something about the shape of the Earth, namely that it is not globular in shape. QED? I think.
would agree. I would agree with you. Yes,
Yeah.
it does imply that.
Yeah, like he had I can science that said if water forms a plane, then there can be no globe. So that implication was laid out to him by I can science that. I mean, it's
Yes,
a little bit behind, but yeah,
yes, but
that's been
still,
implied for quite a while, hasn't it?
it works. It works.
Yeah.
So this statement is true. This conditional, yes, it is really the same as I can sign that stated. So just differently phrased, but generally meaning is the same. Yes, it implies that it is impossible. That even Earth, meaning whatever, Earth, water, whatever. Yes, it does imply that it cannot be that shape. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm guessing that's why these guys get that upset whenever they hear level being horizontal, because they're making implications that most normal people wouldn't. They're just over obsessed with it, right? They're obsessed and they can't get it out of their head.
Yeah, and it's
Oh, is that paper? Is that anybody else? Is that paper or was that me?
Can you hear me?
I can. You're back again now. Yeah, a little bit of a robot.
Okay, so
I heard you just fine.
It disproves globe, but it doesn't prove, of course, flat Earth, but disproves globe. This is this statement that level is horizontal, and disproves globe. Yes, so
yeah,
that's why
I would agree,
upset.
Betty. I think he's done. I mean, he did say that he's got nothing. He's got no proofs, but he seems to have summed that up.
Good.
Yeah.
So he's progressing. Very good.
So all we need to establish from that one is level being horizontal not consistent with the Earth being a globe? Well, that would be straight lines, wouldn't it? Like everybody knows that a horizontal plane and exactly what that is.
Yes,
Unless they're setting up the plane curve. I mean, they could be. Do you reckon? Do you reckon horizontal planes curve? 2022.
It's out of definition. So sorry, but plane is defined in Euclid, and plane surface is defined in 2 words. So.
Well, I mean, that is old geometry, isn't it? It's like over 2,000 years old. Do you not think they could have progressed and started curving planes?
On curved plane, you cannot have straight lines. So, okay, on cylindric, you can have straight lines in one direction, but only in one direction. But on a sphere, you cannot have any of them. So, I don't know. I think it's whole Euclidean geometry stops to work on spherical geometry. So for me, this is just not working spherical geometry. So 2,000 years, yes, but why not? It could be more. I don't care.
Either way, the Betty's put QED after that.
Yes, quod erat demonstrandum in Latin.
Yeah, is that like he's demonstrated that the Earth can't be a globe?
Yes, but
Been proven.
I think that he is segueing somehow, because he said implies something about the shape of the Earth. Yes, namely that is not globular in shape. So
Yeah.
this is negative statement. And that's good, because that's why I said that this disproves globe. Not proves positively anything else, but disproves globe.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's not
nothing
globular
more.
in shape. Yeah. That's the simple fact of level being horizontal. Implies, obviously through Beddy as well, because he's pointing it out here, that it can't be globular in shape. I think Blue Marble thinks he's disproved level being horizontal by getting rid of horizontals. Making it a series of points, but not in a straight line.
Yes, but still, if you are producing a series of points next to each other, you are definitely producing a line.
Yeah.
And this line is curved. So sorry. But he is not naming this bendizontal because he cannot. But it is. If he is thinking about these points and verticals, he inevitably has to produce curved line. So in fact, he is producing bendizontal, but he has no audacity yet to name it that.
Yet. But he will be doing, he'll have to, right? He will have to say, this straight line that everybody knows is a straight line turns into a not straight line, or conceptually can stay as a straight line.
Yes, it is inevitable. So we have to wait. Or maybe someone on his behalf will say that. In fact, Rumpus did say that, of course, many times in the past. So this is not new, for example, for Rumpus. For Rumpus, this is obvious that straight line is curved, and vice versa.
Yep. Blue Marble's next on the list for doing this. He might have to do it himself. I think Blue Marble doing this video solo is him taking it out the hands of Rumpus like he does on the live streams. I think he's this is Blue Marble taking it for himself. He's leading the way. Blue Marble Science. It's been a good day.
He knows Rumpus ain't gonna do nothing, so he knows he's gonna have to do it himself.
Let's get those theodolites out to Bedford, Blue. Let's get this, whatever you're calling it. The double drop dilemma. The Blue Marble Science dilemma experiment. The double drop hump
and rise.
Oh, yeah, and rise. I mean, yeah. How much do you reckon there will be difference in rise in the UK over that, Bedford? Get him to calculate that. If there is
Easy.
any.
Easy. We have 24 miles, 340. We can do the math. No, simple.
Should be a few feet at least, shouldn't it?
Oh, way more than that.
Do you reckon?
I would say so.
330 feet over 26 miles. I bet it's exponential, isn't it?
I would say.
I mean, quadratic. I bet there's a quadratic function to it somehow. So 6 miles might not be that much.
Well, it would have to be quadratic, right? According to their...
it could be about 70 odd feet, I suppose.
I would say, yeah, something like that.
Just a quick one off the top of my head. You have to work it out for us, Blue. Get the boys on it. If there is a rise from one end of Lake Pontchartrain to the other, how much of a rise would there be in Bedford from one bridge to the other one? Which one would be the highest? Welney or... Oh, I can't even remember what the other one's called. Hey, we're never going to get an answer to that. Anyone want to wrap this up? I think we're pretty much done. We'll see what the consequences of all of this comes. Trivium day tomorrow.
I would say that Blue showed us his dilemma clearly, and it would be a good lesson for listeners how to not create different geometry than Euclid one, and that you cannot trick audience with using Euclidean geometry, because it doesn't work, because you can only trick yourself or fall into contradictions or that kind of dilemmas. But I don't think that it would trick the audience and convince anyone that what he has done is working, because it cannot work. Oh, that's me, and I am off to bed. Good night.
Thank you very much, Paper. Yeah, I think tomorrow we will be going over the dilemma within the trivium. I'm pretty sure I've got a book with some think on it. So yeah, we'll go over that because it is an interesting point. It does give us the chance to open up the conversations with people about this logical formulation and how you work out the contradictions, and how sometimes the dilemma is a position that you are put in, obviously in reality. And the Blue Marble Science dilemma is going to be one that you can talk to people about. It's got a nice ring to it as well.
Before we go, can you spell dilemma for me?
I will write in the chat.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be funny.
You're going to get it on your whiteboard, don't you?
I do.
Get it wrote down on your whiteboard.
Yeah. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Generally, this is folded from two words, of course. D, or the page is using Y, but it doesn't matter. In Latin version, it would be letter I. But D means two, and lemma, because this word stands for itself as lemma. It is Greek word lemma. So dilemma means two lemma. So two ways of processing or
is it like a conclusion? It's a process, isn't it? It's two
two ways, just two ways of doing something in logic.
Yeah, we'll go over it tomorrow because it's fascinating. It's a good way of trying to sort things out. If you can put yourself in this position, you will find one that is obviously, well, we'll go over it tomorrow.
Okay, good night.
Okay, night. Thanks.
Thanks, Bev. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Anybody else got any other final words before we hand over to Buster again to sing us out? Logos.
340-foot difference from one side of Lake Rakia to the other. Unbelievable.
Yeah, 340-foot difference, but that difference is on the underside. And there's no elevation change, even though there's 340 foot, which they must have been measured somewhere. It's crazy.
Yes, sir.
Crazy. Right. I don't want to be going over the model too much because it does sound fascinating and stupid at the same time. Okay, join us tomorrow. We'll be going over Trivium and looking at this blue marble science dilemma that has been brought around since Blue Marble did his video about reciprocal zenith angles. Getting rid of horizontals, getting rid of parallels, but using the parallel postulate in order to do it. It's all fantastic. And it's not possible in reality. Only possible on the globe model.
I take the fifth, sir.
Join us tomorrow. Signing out for today. Buster singing us out with Logos.
It's the echo in your brain. You know you can't sustain the misconceptions in your mind. One day you'll see for sure what all of this was for. Then you can leave it all behind. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. In the beginning was found this thing that cannot speak. It's how we all truly learn. It's only ever attained when one lets go of fear. So don't let wisdom pass you by. The journey begins. I am the one, yeah, that will show the proof. I am the one, yeah, that is searching for the truth. I am the whispers of the logic in your mind. I am an agent of the Logos. It was there all along. How could I never have seen this thing that's danced all around? It wasn't until I left behind the things I believed that I could see things so clear. The journey begins. Become the one here that will show the proof. Become the one here that is searching for the truth. Become the whispers of the logic in their mind. Become an agent of the Logos. Become an agent of the Logos. We are the agents of the Logos.